Well, I got a call about midday, and the voice on the other side of the line sounded more confused than scared when she said, "There's a ghost or something. The house is haunted." I said, all right. Well, I can come by. I'm actually free this afternoon if you'd like. I can be there in about 45 minutes. Well, that'd be wonderful, thank you. So, I made myself a cup of coffee and put it in a thermos and headed out to the house. It was over in a neighborhood called Stoneleigh, which is not too far away, but a bit of a hike. So I took the bus. It was pretty much a straight shot up from um, up Green Mountain, York. Well, I knocked on the door, and the lady that opened the door was a, older middle-aged lady, and she didn't seem bothered. I said, "Yes, so I believe the house is haunted, and I hear you have some expertise in this kind of a thing." I said, "Yeah, I dipped out with some haunted houses and stuff like that before, yeah. What's happening?" "Well, I moved in about 2 weeks ago. Well, 2.5 weeks ago. Anyway, I just moved in. And I had movers come in, so I know it looks like I've been here for a while, but it's just because I had able to, very fortunate I was able to pay movers, and they just moved everything in and unpacked everything. Oh, such a nice service. Anyway, and right now I live alone, but my goddaughter is going to become living with me in the fall because she's going to go to college at Towson. And it's all very exciting, you see. Yeah, that sounds great. So, what about the ghost? Oh, right. Well, you see, I usually like to put my stuff, like dishes and things, away as soon as I'm finished eating, but the past couple nights I've just, honestly been feeling lazy. And so I finished my dinner, and I went and I watched some TV for a while. Not long, maybe one show, so, 45 minutes or so. I got back up to go and do my dishes, and, they were done. They were cleared and clean and in the cabinet, from what I could tell. It's very strange. I live alone. I don't even have a cat. Well, that is weird, Ollie said. And that's happened twice now? It has. It has happened twice now. And the other thing was, look, even right now. Look at my coffee table. I said, okay. Looks tidy and organized. Yes, it does. Every book is lined up straight with the bookmarks, perfectly aligned with the spine. I'm not quite that organized about my coffee table, Ollie. I don't leave it a mess, but I had the books just here and there, and certainly wasn't that careful about the bookmarks. So, you have a ghost that is tidying up after you, is what you're telling me. Yes, exactly. But you don't sound that bothered about it. Well, the thing is, I'm not. I mean, you hear about all these horrible ghost stories of ghosts that scare people and chase people off and do all sorts of nasty things, and, well, if it is a ghost, this ghost seems to be just being nice to me. That's great, but why call me? Oh, well, it is still a mystery. And I think the biggest thing, the mystery I want to solve, is, does the ghost have a name? What could I call the ghost? I don't want to be rude. If this ghost is going to be just helping me around the house, I just call it ghost, like it was some Victorian era servant. Okay, I said. That's an interesting challenge. You don't want to get rid of the ghost. You want to befriend the ghost. Yes. I'm guessing it can't speak, but that doesn't mean we can't be civil, does it? I said, yeah, no, it certainly does not mean you can't be civil. I think you can be civil. That's, okay. All right, let me think here. Well, do you have Scrabble? The game? No, no, I don't have Scrabble. Um, do you have... Trying to think what we could use to see if the ghost would write something. Well, I tried asking it to type it out on my computer, but it didn't. Yeah, ghosts often don't like electronics. Oh, I didn't realize that. Um, well, let's see. What could I do? What could I know? I've got the perfect thing. She walked out of the room and came back in carrying a big glass bowl full of those flattened glass beads. You know, they're marbles that got squished. It's just a decorative thing. But we could pour it out on the table. And maybe the ghost would rearrange them into their name. I said, well, you know, it's worth a shot. Let's try. Well, I picked up the jar full of squished marbles and took it into the dining room. It was already mostly clear. There was just 2 candlesticks. So Ollie moved the candlesticks and poured out the marbles. He flattened them all out, but making sure to leave it a little bit disorganized. Well, how do we communicate with the ghost? I could leave it a note. So the lady wrote out a nice little note that said, "Dear my ghostly friend, thank you for tidying up after me a few times. I hope that I'm welcome in your home. I would love to know your name. Would you please spell out your name in the marbles so that I can know what to call you?" She left the note right there next to the marbles. Said, so what now? Well, Ollie said, if it was a mystery we were trying to solve, and I guess it still is, I would normally do a stakeout. So, I guess I'll do a stakeout. Oh, how fun. Do you need anything? No, Ollie said, no, I'm good. I might just use your restroom and then I can start the stakeout and you can just go about your day. Does the ghost usually come at a certain time of day? Well, it's only happened 3 times now, but they weren't in... One was in the evening, one was in the afternoon. 2 were in the afternoon. So, no real patterns yet. Alright. So after Ollie went to the restroom, he climbed up. On top there was a tall china cabinet that went almost to the ceiling and had a little crown molding around the top. So I climbed up there and started to watch. And his client went back to her study and got out a book and just read. Well, they waited for a while. Nothing happened. It occurred to Ollie while he was up there that another distinct possibility, in addition to friendly ghosts, was that the lady was having some mental health problems. That she was tidying up the things herself and just not remembering doing it. As he sat there watching, he began to think about how he could broach the subject. Nobody ever really likes to be told that they might be having memory problems. It's not really something else Ollie's had to do before. So he thought, and he contemplated. He practiced in his head several polite ways he might bring it up. It's just as he would just about settled on a polite way to suggest that she might need to get some mental health support, the marbles began to move. Well, first the little note lifted up off the table, floated there for a second, then landed back on the table. And then the marbles began to move. At first, it was kind of remarkable because it was many moving at the same time. Not just two, like a human person with two hands would do, but 10 or 12 all moving at the same time. It was fascinating to watch. It was a pretty pattern of movement. And all I figured out that whatever it was rearranging the marbles, not drawing out in a single line, but rather picking them out by color and making a pattern in the colors of the marbles. It's fascinating to watch. Not at all how Ollie would have done the task if he'd been asked. After a few minutes, the movement stopped. Ollie couldn't quite read it from his angle. But he didn't necessarily need to, because as the marbles stopped moving, his client came back into the room. The marbles stopped moving. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to intrude or scare you. I heard the marbles moving and then stopping, so I thought I might look. If you're still in the room, I mean you no harm." She walked over. On the table it said, "Mabel." I said, "Oh, your name is Mabel. Well, Mabel, if you're still in the room, my name's Shelley. And I hope we can be friends." There was no answer, but Shelley felt confident that she had made headway. She looked up at the cabinet and said, "Mr. Octopus, you can come down now. Thank you for your help. I think we might be all good here." I said, "All right. Well, I'm not going to charge you anything because this was fascinating. And I instead want to ask you a favor." I said, "Well, that's very kind of you. I don't mind paying." I said, No. I want you to pay me in this favor." I said, "Okay, what can I do for you?" "Keep in touch. I'm desperately curious to see how this plays out. Usually when people call me because they have a ghost, it's because they're scared of the ghost and want the ghost to go away. But here you are, bound and determined to make this ghost into a friend, and I gotta know how that turns out." "Well, I can do you one better than that, Ollie. Why don't you come back in about a month's time? I'll have you over for lunch, and maybe by then Mabel and I will be bosom buddies." "I'll look forward to that," Ollie said. And that was the case of Ollie and the helpful spirit.